Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Hanuman, Jai Hanuman. Today we'll start with a nice little riddle or a joke. I was just reading and I came across this beautiful joke in the notebook in my file. So, there is a knock on the door, and this is a very famous joke that our children have been doing this, right? Knock, knock, with a little twist. Knock, knock. Again, the person asked, who is there? From the other side, somebody is knocking. So, knock, knock. Who is there? No reply. Again, knock, 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 knock. Who's there? Now, this process, knock, knock, who's there? Finally, after multiple answers, asking multiple times and knocking multiple times from the other side, there's an answer instead of a knock now. So he asks, who's there? The answer is, I am opportunity. Right? But now this person says, I will not open the door. Why? Now this other person is shocked. It's an opportunity. I've been knocking so many times and now you do not want to open the door. He says, no, I won't open the door because good opportunities do not knock so many times. They do not knock so many times. Good opportunities knock the door very rarely. And if you miss it, you miss it. So we have to be very alert. बार बार knock नहीं करेगी. And this is something I feel is telling us that we have got this good fortune. Bharat Varshe, we are in that Bharat Khand. We are able to understand the scriptures. We are able to follow it. We are born as humans. God has given us everything. We do not have to fend for food every day. कि बाहर जाएंगे तो ही खाना मिलेगा, नहीं तो थाली में खाना नहीं आएगा, रोटी नहीं आएगी. ऐसा कुछ भी नहीं है. See, there is never enough for our greed. But by God's grace, we have more than enough for our need. Right? So when this amazing opportunity has come, why are we not focusing on it? Because these kind of opportunities are very rare. And iske baad mein, again, we'll be circulating, going from one yoni to another to another. Yoni is one species to another, unended. मनुष्य जीवन वापस कब मिलेगा पता नहीं. And अगर मनुष्य जीवन भी मिला तो कैसा मिलेगा ये हमें नहीं पता. Right? So when this opportunity is knocked, let's open the door, be alert, be ready, be aligned. And when this kind of an opportunity knocks the door, sometimes we miss it. But today we are going to talk about two very important people in Ramayana. Two very important gurus of Sri Ramji. Guru Vashisht and Guru Vishwamitra. And the importance of a guru, we will understand with three small little parables. And then we'll go into the stories of these three gurus. And not only this, we are going to touch upon the Ikshvaku lineage. Suryavanshi, Ikshvaku lineage, and why a lineage is so important. Right? Knowing your ancestors, knowing what their journey was. Hum nahi jante, right? We might not even remember the name beyond one or two grandparents of ours. Right? Do we know the history behind their existence? Unne kya kiya? What was their motive in life? We are but a sum total of our ancestors. It is like a continued journey. They have finished, they have left something unfinished, we'll finish it. We are an outcome of their Purushartha. We are not an independent entity ever. Right? So, two things we are going to touch upon is the gurus, without which these important opportunities might be missed, which are very rare. And we are also going to touch upon the lineage, Ikshvaku lineage where Ramji was born. What does it take for Ramji to be born in a particular lineage? It is a cumulative tapasya. It is a cumulative effort. It is one generation getting better than the other generation. The journey continues. It is not an independent, airtight journey of ours. It is not. So, now, 3 stories. One Deepa has shared, and I shared it with the children also, and I'll share it again here. Many a times we feel na in sab cheezon se kya fayda. We hear so many names, we hear so many stories, and kai bar hota hai. Yesterday I was just sitting and I was listening to my own children's stories, because the depth and the detailing in those stories I couldn't find elsewhere. So I said, okay, let me just listen to those stories. So one after another, I was listening to the Suryavanshi stories in Bhagavad for children. But after I finished one or second, the third, by the time I reached the third, I was like, okay, what was the detail there? Okay, this was there. So then what is the reason when we immediately forget? When after the class, probably after a while, we'll forget everything. We might not even remember the details. Is there any sense in doing what we are doing? And this is explained in a very beautiful short story. And this is dialogue between the grandfather and a child. Right? So the grandfather every morning sits with the child and says, Roj hum ek shlok Gita yaad karenge. Now child is very obedient. He says, okay, I'll sit. Hum yaad karenge. So the child tries and he's obedient. He listens to his dadu. He wants to make his dadu happy. But by the end of the day, when the second day starts, he does not remember the first shloka. And this goes on. But dadu continues. Okay, chapter 1 done, chapter 2 done. But the child does not remember. He's chanting, but he does not remember. And finally, after a while, he said, what is the point? Yaad to kuch rehta nahi hai. What is the point of this effort? Tell me, dadu. So the dadu had a very beautiful way of responding. So he said, take this bucket, which is full of coal. He removed the coal. It was all black and dirty. He said, take it to the stream, fill in some water and get it back. So the child, listened to him. He went, filled in the water, got it back. But the water did not remain. The bucket had holes, right? Again he went, filled in water, got it back. Bucket got empty. Multiple efforts were made, but he could not get in water. At the end of it, he said, see Dadu, I'm telling you, the bucket has holes. Just like me learning Gita, there is no use, there is no point wasting any time. It is better that you get another vessel or you get another student. Right? I am not the patra. He says, no, you are the supatra. And this is also the right patra. Can you now look at the bucket? He looked at the bucket. He said, what is the difference? It was very black and dirty. And suddenly it was shining. It was glowing. It was nice and silver. The original color was nearly coming back. He said, oh, in the process we have cleaned the bucket. The bucket is nice and shiny. And that is what the Dadu said. You might feel as though yaad nahi ho raha hai. Kuch samajh nahi aa raha hai. Maybe the retention is not there. But the cleansing is happening. And that is all there is. The cleansing, because we are all knowing. When we listen to the story of Vishwamitra, he was Vishwarath and his journey towards Vishwamitra, we are going to do it very quickly, but he was the one who authored the Gayatri Mantra. We know it? Gayatri Mantra. And it is said, one of the sadhvis I was talking to, and she said, Devi Amma, she has the darshan of these sages as if we are talking to each other in person. So she says, when Vishwamitra narrates the Gayatri, he becomes very transparent and it just flows through him. So did Gayatri Mantra come from somewhere else? No. It was always there within. The entire process is not to learn. It is just to clean. And when the cleaning happens, when the cleansing happens, the knowledge and the light will just shine. So, this is a very important thought that we should always have when we are in the process of scriptures, because like the other day, sports is on, right? Michael Phelps and everybody, they are giving their 2 bits. So many athletes are competing, some are losing, some are winning, but everybody has put in effort. So he asked that, is it true that Michael Phelps, is the legend in swimming? He said, is it true? Or is any athlete always motivated to get up and do that extra lap or get into the water? Doesn't he have that desire to sleep a little longer someday? He says, if anybody over here says, कि I don't have that desire to sleep a little longer. I every day, every single day want to get up and do that extra run or extra lap. I would say you're lying. Many a times me, who has, mind you, never missed a training in his career. It was years and years that he continuously entered the water without fail at a particular time. The regime was followed, and hence is Michael Phelps. So he said everybody has that. But that is the difference between an achiever and a person who just misses this opportunity. That moment when you're just demotivated, when you just don't want to do it anymore, you stand up, you get ready, and you walk on. Even when you don't want to. And what do you remember? Always tell yourself, and that is what I always tell myself, why did I start my journey? Write it on with capital letters, stick it somewhere. And whenever that demotivation comes and say, this is why I started my journey. No matter what, my heart or my mind speaks against it, I'll continue marching. So this is what Michael Phelps said. And why is it that gurus are very important? Gurus in flesh and blood. I also do not have a guru. So when I'm talking about this, I do not know the powers of gurus. When I have one, I will know. We do not make gurus. Gurus choose us. When we are eligible, the right guru will come at the right time. So we just have to wait. So why are gurus important? Why is it that anybody cannot tell us what to do? A very simple story. Now there was a child who was allergic to brinjal, bangan. But it was his favorite. Bangan ka barta, this, that, he loved it. Now his mother did not know what to do. He was suffering a lot. And she said, maybe a sage will be able to cure him. So she walked miles and miles. I don't know how many hours of a steep climb they had to make. And they waited for days before they reached the sage. Now the sage heard the entire scenario. He heard the entire story. He looked at him. He looked at the child. And he said, listen, can you please come after a month? The mother said, we made such a tedious journey. Can you not impart whatever you want to right now? He said, no. Can you please come after a month? I'll be here waiting for you. The mother was a little disappointed. She tried to convince her child and they went back. 1 month went by and again they had to make the same tedious journey of hours and days, and finally they reached in front of the sage. And then the sage looked at the child. He remembered him and he smiled and said, Suno beta, if brinjal is not good for you, then don't eat it. What will happen if you do not eat one vegetable? Even if it's your favorite, stop eating brinjal. Okay, दूसरे जने आइए. The mother got furious. She just lost it. She said, आप ये बात पहले भी बोल सकते थे. Why did you have to wait for so long? And the saint smiled and he said, see, brinjal is my favorite also. And had I told your child not to eat brinjal, even if he did not know, when I was eating it myself, वो असर नहीं होता. It would not have resonated. It would not have made a difference. Now I am sure that he will understand and he will not eat. The sages, the saints, the gurus, they practice what they speak, and that is when it really touches us and makes a dent. So it is very essential to imbibe, and this is, everybody is a guru. We learn from everybody. Parents are also gurus, right? Children are watching. Let there not be a difference between what we say and what we do. They won't listen then. No? Who is to blame? The child or us? Right? A very, very important point as to why these gurus are important. Why did Vishwamitra and Vashisht were needed when Dashrath was such an elevated soul? When Kaushalya had Brahma Darshan, right? She could see him. Why couldn't she teach her own child? No. नहीं हो सकता था. कुछ चीजों के लिए उनको गुरु चाहिए ही था. To teach simplicity, they needed Vishwamitra and Vashisht. They could not preach it living in a castle and draped in jewels. नहीं होता. So, very simple lessons that we learn from our scriptures, and we have to delve deeper and understand it and implement it in our lives. Now, there was a sage called Namdev. It is like a story marathon we call for the children. But sage called Namdev, he is a great Marathi sage. And Namdev ji, again, he was revered, and there was this temple he used to serve unendingly every day, no matter what, hail, storm, bar, whatever we're having in Rajasthan right now. He would go to the temple, serve, be there, do his duties. Nothing could stop him. Now, there was another sage in the same village, but he was a potter, right? He was a potter. So there was a big mela, everybody had gathered. Namdev ji was also there, and this potter was also there. So the potter saw all the disciples of Namdev ji and all the other people who were coming to see him also, and Namdev ji also, and he said, okay, let's do one thing. Just in a joyous manner, he said, let's see. Because he's a potter, right? The potter normally hits or touches or does this to see whether the matka or the pot is already nicely baked or not, right? Or is there a crack or something in it? So what he did was he made everybody stand in a line along with Namdev ji. He said, chalo, let's test. All the pots are nice or not. And the way was he would slap. One person slapped, fine. Slap on the face. Slap. Till he reached Namdev ji. And Namdev ji was like, what is he doing? And then Namdev ji got a tight one from this potter. Now Namdev ji, the great sage, okay, he had so many of his disciples standing there, and he is getting slapped by this potter, though everybody knew he was divine. And Namdev ji said, what have you done? What are you doing? What is wrong with you? Why are you slapping me? And the potter smiled and said, I think there is a crack in this pot. Namdev ji just did not know. He was so humiliated. He rushed to his Krishna temple. He sat down and he said, my God, I've always been there for you. Right? I've always served you, and this is how you humiliate me. What? Mere se kya truti ho gayi that I had to go through this? Now the Lord appeared. He said, I understand this happened, but let's find out. I think Namdev ji, you need a guru. Namdev ji said, but no, you are my guru, na? You are there. You're always there for me. What is the problem? Whenever I need you, I turn to you and you answer, you send messages. Why do I need a guru? But he said, listen, you need somebody who is going to be there with you throughout, not in bits of pieces. So what I would suggest is, now Namdev ji found it very difficult, but finally he was convinced, and he was sent to a village called Krishna. He said, go to the Krishna village, and there is this Shivji temple, and in that Shivji temple you will find your guru. Now he could not deny the orders or request of the Lord, right? So he went. Dhire, dhire, dhire karke wo chale gaye. And then what did he see? He went to the Krishna temple, and there in the temple there was nobody. But there was one person lying there. Ill-dressed, totally the hairs were upheavaled, the beard was overgone, he looked as if he had not taken a bath for days. He was lying there flat on the floor, and Namdev ji was appalled. This one could not be my guru. And then he was convinced, because what did he see? That this guru, or this person who is not considered to be a guru or not, does not have what it takes to be a guru. The biggest red flag was that he was sleeping with his leg on the shivling. Shivling hai, uske upar apna pair rakha hua hai, and aram se he's sleeping. Namdev ji said, what are you doing? Why are your legs, your feet on the shivling? Show some respect. He said, listen, main na bahut thak gaya hu. I don't have the energy. I am always beaten and broken. Can you please help me? You remove my feet and put them wherever there is no shivling. I don't mind. Namdev ji said, Tatasu, I'll do it. What paap, And he took his feet and he removed it from the shivling and he was putting it on the floor. But just when he was putting it on the floor, another shivling cropped up. Then he removed it from there, he put it somewhere else, another shivling cropped up. It was not that the feet were on the shivling was coming below the feet wherever the feet were going. Finally, Namdev ji just did not believe. Wherever he would move, the feet of this person, shivlings would crop up, and this person smiled and said, "Koi aisi jagah mili, jahan Prabhu nahi hai." भाई मेरा पैर रख दो. In tears, Namdev ji sat down. Weeping and crying, he said, "Thank you, Gurudev, you have opened my eye." And he wondered, He never went back to the temple he was serving. Without fail, he would go there no matter what the weather. He never went back. He wandered here, wandered there. And one fine day, Lord, be it Krishna or Ram, he appeared. He said, "What is wrong with you? I had sent you to Krishna Gaon to meet your Guru. Why didn't you ever come back? Don't you miss me? Aren't you supposed to serve me? I've been waiting for you over there." Ramdev ji smiled and said, "मुझे वहां आने की जरूरत नहीं है, बिकॉज ऐसी कोई जगह नहीं है, ऐसा कोई व्यक्ति नहीं है, ऐसी कोई चीज नहीं है जिसमें मुझे आप नहीं दिखते हो. You are there everywhere for me. Everyone, everywhere. There is no place where you are not." And Shri Krishna or Ram smilingly said, "Oh, now the pot does not have any crack." Just imagine such small stories with deep messages. Right now, we are looking at these stories, identifying the importance of a guru, right? But these same stories can be revisited and a lot of treasures can be taken out of them, right? In the same way, there used to be a thief and a sage, right? Now, the sage had nothing on him except for a begging bowl and an orange robe. True sannyas, right? Because sannyas ashram has rules. Just like Brahmacharya ashram has rules. And today we are going to see Sri Ram has finished his Brahmacharya ashram and is going to proceed towards Grihast ashram. So today is the cusp. Today and the next class are going to be the cusp, where Brahmacharya ashram is ending and Grihast ashram is beginning. So before we end the Brahmacharya ashram, हम उसकी सीख तो ले लेना. अब Brahmacharya ashram में गुरु बहुत जरूरी है, right? So slowly, now the sage, there was a queen who really loved this sage. So she called him to the palace and she said, "Sage, why don't you stay here?" He said, "No, I can't. By the niyams of sannyas, I cannot have a house. I cannot have an ashram. I cannot stay in one place for more than 7 days. I have to keep moving. मैं संग्रह नहीं कर सकता. I cannot accumulate anything. Right? Apart from, there are certain times when there is this Varsha Ritu, where it is very difficult to move from one place to another. They are allowed to make an exception. Otherwise, they are not. So there is a very stringent thing that sannyas ashram demands. So right now, when we are talking sannyas ashram, we would say that maybe all of them are vanaprasthis. Very few sannyasis are there. So she said, "Okay, fine. Give me your bowl." He said, "ठीक है, ले लो. एक यही चीज है मेरे पास में, ये भी ले लो, कोई बात नहीं." And he started walking away. She ran after him and she gave him a gold bowl jaded with emeralds and rubies. And another sage would have said, "No, no, no, I don't need this." But for him, this gold bowl and this emerald bowl were alike. So he took the bowl and he was walking away. And the queen said, "I'll worship your bowl made of wood every single day. आप ये दूसरा bowl रख लो." And when he walked out of the palace with that gold bowl shining bright with the precious stones, a thief saw it. A thief, this was a very big thief who had stolen from the treasury also many times. Nobody could catch him. So he saw this bowl and he got tempted. He said, "I want this bowl." And he followed the sage. He saw कि अच्छा कभी यहाँ रुकते हैं, कभी यहाँ रुकते हैं, कभी यहाँ. So he was following the sage, and one day he stayed in this small tattered hut. And when he was sleeping, the sage was pretending to sleep. Maybe he heard that somebody was walking towards him, and the sage realized it is the thief who has been following him. So before the thief would come in, the sage just threw the bowl out and he said, "Le jao." The thief was like, "What? Such a precious bowl, that sage has just stolen it, thrown it out." And he said, "Can I please come in? I want to talk to you and thank you for giving me this bowl." He said, "Yeah, that was the intention. That was the whole intention. So that you could come and talk to me. Otherwise, you would have taken the bowl and run." So he came and he sat down. He said, How is it that there is no attachment towards this bowl, and a lot of gyan happened, which we have already done before. And then he said, I also want to become like you. And I've gone to many sages, I've gone to many saints, and the first thing they tell me is, तुम चोरी करना छोड़ दो. अब वो मुझसे नहीं होता. Then the saint said, which sages have you gone to? They themselves are thieves. How can you leave stealing? That is your core objective. That is your core business. That is how you earn. कोई बात नहीं, तुम चोरी करो, but उसके साथ में एक और चीज करो. Do one more thing. What is it? And this is something that we all, if we are taking only one thing from the session today, let's take this. Focus on your breath. Breathe in, breathe out. Every minute, every second, be aware of your breath. Be aware of your breath. So when you are stealing also, be aware of your breath. Breathe in, breathe out, be aware. Be aware that you're breathing in, be aware that you're breathing out. He said, okay, this is it. And I'll become a sage like you. He said, yes, try it. Try karne mein kya jata hai? You continue doing your profession. What is the harm? It is like, sometimes, we say, oh my God, I'm taking this allopathic medicine. But theek hai, side mein homeopathy bhi le lo. There are no side effects. And nobody is asking you to stop your allopathy. If it works out, it works out. Nahi to allopathy to hai hi na. So he's saying, if it works out, it works out. Nahi to stealing to hai hi na tumhare. No problem. He said, yes, there is nothing to lose. So now this thief, whenever he would go into steal, he was always in awareness that he has to breathe in, breathe out, be focused. कुछ बोलने से पहले, कुछ करने से पहले, कुछ खाने से पहले, alertness, ajatyam, right? Hanuman ji is very ajat, right? उनके कितने qualities हैं? बुद्धिर, बलम, यशो, धैर्यम, निर्भयत्वम, अरोगता, अजाट्यम, वाक्पटुत्वम च, हनुमत स्मरणात् भवेत्. These are his 8 qualities. So one of this is ajat, always alert. You will never catch him unaware of what is happening in his being. So again, he goes, and finally he came back to the sage. He said, nahi ho raha. See, I cannot do both the things together. Either I can steal, or I can be aware of my breath. So because I'm aware of my breath, I have not been able to steal for so long. He never stole again. And he himself became a great sage. The objective today is power of a guru, right? But there are a lot of hidden messages that we are taking. Why? Why are we talking about all these, like one after another? To show us that when you want to enter Janakpuri, ऐसे ही नहीं होगा. सीता ऐसे ही नहीं मिल जाती है राम को. He is doing all this. He is in alertness and awareness. He is not stealing. Is it that we steal only things from people? We steal away people's peace of mind by uttering words that they don't want to hear. We steal away people's future by ridiculing them and making them lose their confidence. We steal away so much unknowingly. And if we are aware of our breath, if we are alert of what we are doing and what we are saying and how we are acting, कोई अपराध हो ही नहीं सकेगा. You will say, when I'm focusing on my breath, I can't even talk too much. Such was Ramji, and such was the power of his gurus, which we have explained through small little parables. Stories are easier to retain, right? Gyan is very easily forgotten. So with these few stories, we can go on, but this is enough for now, for today, because we have to get back into Ramayana. Not that we are out of Ramayana, because everything is talking about the same thing. So these are the kind of gurus, Vishwamitra and Guru Vasishtha. Who was Guru Vasishtha? Who was Guru Vishwamitra? Why are they so important in forming the Ram that we worship and revere? And who is this Ram that they are making? Making? Yes, they are making, they are shaping. Satchit Anand Swarup to sabhi hai. Right? A coal can be shaped into the most precious of diamonds. And when the sonar comes and, he starts, polishing the diamond, and then the value increases, right? It is not that one coal is not as good as the other one or one. No, it is the polishing. Yeah, the polishing is happening through Guru Vishwamitra and Guru Vasishtha. And we talked about the lineage. Before we go on, what lineage renders an offspring like Ramji? We talked about being ajat. We talked about being alert. We do not know our ancestors. We do not want to know. How does it matter? It does. Because we are a sum total of what they are. The Ikshvakus are from Manu and Shatrupa. If we look at the entire lineage tree, a lot of kings have come through. When we talk about Raja Sagar, who was he? Raja Sagar was the father of Asmanjas, and he was the father of, grandfather of Dilip, and then Anshuman. And all these people led to Bhagirath. Bhagirath was the one who got down Ganga, right? What happened in this entire Ganga story, which I've been raving about for so long, is that their 60,000 ancestors were burned to ashes, right? Chachas. Now, Anshuman just could not take it. So he went, and what was the error of these? That they assumed that Kapila Muni must have stolen the Yagna horse, right? They went on, and the method of finding a thing was causing harm to Mother Earth and the surroundings. They were digging and destroying just to find what was theirs. The method of finding was not right. And when Mother Earth complained, she said, what are they doing? They're causing more harm than good. They are Sagar's sons, right? They said, don't worry. Lord is there. They will be burnt to ashes. Now Kapil Muni, they started throwing foul words on Kapil Muni, and Kapil Muni opened his eyes, turned 60,000 of them into ashes. Sagar's son. Now, they did not come back with the horse. So then Anshuman was sent, because Asmanjas, his father, had gone to the jungle. He pretended to be like a crazy person because he did not want to interact with the worldly. He would pick children and throw them into the wells, and they would die. So they got so worried that this is a demon that has taken birth in the lineage. Let's send him to the jungles and ask him to never come back. He was exiled. The minute he was exiled, all the children which he had drowned came to life. All he wanted was, like Raja Bharat. Remember Raja Bharat, who left his kingdom and he fell in love with a deer. And again he was born as a deer, right? And then in the following birth, he behaved like a madman. He said, I do not want to talk to anybody. I do not want to do anything. You never know where I'll get attachment. I'll get stuck and again I'll be born. Right? So there's a long story there. It comes in the Bhagavad. Over here, Asmanjas went. Anshuman went looking for his uncles. Finally, he was directed. He went to the Rasatal. He saw Kapila Muni, and Kapila Muni told him, so and so has happened. Here, take your horse and go. Now, for him, the liberation of his ancestors was very important. He told Raja Sagar. Raja Sagar finished the entire the yagna, and later on he sat in tapas. Thousands and thousands of years went back, and when his time had come, and one more thing which is written in Valmiki Ramayana is, when his dharma was over. दो चीजें होती है, which leads us to leave this mortal body of ours and leave the Mrityu Lok and go. Mrityu Lok, na? The earth is known as the Mrityu Lok, which nobody wants to come to. So, when time is up and your dharma, so we come here with a defined age limit and a defined thing that we have to learn or we have to do. When these two things are done, no matter what your age be, you will leave. So it is very specifically mentioned. Sagar, when the time was up and his dharma was done. So for all of us, it is the same thing. When our time is up and our dharma is done, we leave. So Raja Sagar left. Again, Dilip started praying. Again, when the time was right and the dharma was done. Whatever his age was, he left. He could not get Ganga down. And then took the charge from Raja Dilip was Bhagirath. He put somebody on the throne. He took charge. And he also prayed. Seriously prayed. And finally, first He prayed to Brahmaji. He prayed to Ma Ganga. She said, no, you have to take the permission of Brahmaji. He prayed to Brahmaji. Brahmaji said, you have to ask Vishnuji. Vishnuji said, he said, you need somebody so that Gangaji can come to the Prithvi without destroying it, Shivji. So he prayed to all of them for thousands and thousands of years. And we know, as the story goes, that he was able to, right? We won't go into the detail because we mentioned it last time. But the crux of the thing over here is when Raja Dilip, Raja Sagar, even Anshuman, they all tried, but it was not in their dharma for this to happen. उनका जितना काम था, उनको जितना करना था, वो करके they went. And when the time is right, and the word, this is his deed, Bhagirath had to do it, his mind also started working in the right direction. His tapasya also became very strong. And he was able to get Bhagirathi, Ma Ganga, down. Who is Bhagirath? He is also one of the Ikshvakus. He is in the lineage of Sri Ramji. There are such great people mentioned in the lineage. Not only this, do we hear about Raja Harishchandra? He is also an Ikshvaku. And we know, I don't think we have to tell about Raja Harishchandra. Bacha janta hai the stories of Raja Harishchandra. He is in the lineage of the Ikshvakus. When you talk about, there is Puranjaya, there is his name. He is also known as Indravahan. He was sought out by Indraji. He said, the demons are coming, we are not able to fight. Please, can you come and help us? So he demanded that Indraji becomes a bull. He said, I need a Vahan who's equally as strong as I am. So you will become my Vahan, O Indra. He said, you want me to become your Vahan? Why can't you choose anything else? He said, no, you will become a Vahan. And so Indra took the form of a bull. He is also known as Indra Vahan. And he is also an Ikshvaku, Suryavanshi. And he went and defeated the demons. And later when Indra asked, why out of all these things, you could have gotten an equally strong vehicle elsewhere. Why did you choose me? He said, yes, because you are the first thing I need to control. What is it? My senses. And I rode over you, I controlled you, and then only was I able to beat the demons. Just like we controlled our breath, right? We talked about controlling our breath, being alert. So he said, Indravahan, he controlled all the Indriyas. And hence he was able to defeat all the demons. So this is the story and this is the deeper meaning. So he was also an Ikshvaku. And we can go on and on. There are such mesmerizing stories about these Ikshvakus. And the one thing that we need to remember is, if we go down their lineage, we will see that one was better than the other. Focused and moving on. The other, every time there was an error, it was being corrected. Every time there was a lapse, that was being made and filled. Till once they reached Raja Dashrath and it was time for Ram to come. A cumulative effort of an entire lineage. And इसी के लिए कहते हैं ना, if there is one saint, one sage, or one knower of Brahm in a lineage, the 21 generations below and the 21 generations after get liberated. Why? Why only by one person's tapasya the 21 can get liberated? Because it is not only one person's tapasya. We are a sum total of our ancestors, and that is why in our scriptures, in Ramayana so far, again and again we are talking about our ancestors. We are talking about giving them importance. We are talking about acknowledging what they have done for us. And this is very essential. And that is why in all our Pitra Shantri, so many prayers are done. It is needed. It is not unnecessary. So this is the lineage which we are talking about. I shared the lineage one by one. If it interests you, go through the stories and you'll realize how mesmerizing these people were. So we are responsible for our next generation, just as they were responsible for us. So much of responsibility. We cannot shrug it, can we? And as mothers, my God, the responsibility doubles. Right? कौशल्या के वहां पे राम आते हैं ना. So now we talked about the general. Now we talked about the lineage. Briefly we touched upon the lineage. Today, the rest of the time, we will utilize in understanding Guru Vashisht and Guru Vishwamitra and what were they trying to do. We sometimes, nowadays it is very common for us to say that we are self-made men and women. हम तो सेल्फ मेड हैं, कोई सेल्फ मेड नहीं होता है. अभी तक हमने ऑलरेडी उस सेल्फ मेड को निगेट कर दिया है. राइट? नोबडी इज सेल्फ मेड. देयर इज अ हिस्ट्री, a lineage behind us. Now over here, what are Vishwamitra and Vashisht trying to do? Do you know once upon a time Vashisht and Guru Vishwamitra were enemies? And Guru Vishwamitra became what he was to show down Guru Vashisht. And it did not all start with a bitter feeling. Guru Vishwamitra was actually a king. Now when did this narration start? How are we putting it in the Ramayana? Because Ramji is moving through towards Mithila, right? On the way, we saw Rishi Gautam's ashram. On the way, we met Gangama. We talked about Gangama. On the way, we went to Siddha ashram. On the way, we saw Kam ashram. And every Siddha ashram, Kam ashram, everything has a meaning where and why Ramji is reaching. We'll knit it together later. And now on the way, he reached the banks of river Sona. And this is next to the Kush dynasty in which Guru Vishwamitra was born. So over here, they talk about the lineage and then they reach Guru Vishwamitra. He says ki yahan hai, and Kaushiki, Kush, which is flowing in Bihar, is his sister. She came from the heavens and now it is known as Kaushiki and she is flowing in Bihar right now. So he says that this is so he said, oh, so you were a king. You were a Kshatriya. He said, yes, I was a Kshatriya. But in this one birth, I became a Brahma Rishi. Now Ramji is very curious. He said, kaise? How did that happen? And he said, well, sit down, I'll tell you. So the story goes that he was a very mighty, mighty warrior. He was known as Vishwarath. And on his route in the jungle, he came to an ashram and this ashram belonged to Guru Vashisht. Now Guru Vashisht has always been there. Who's Guru Vashisht? Guru Vashisht came out of the willpower of Brahmaji. How did this happen? Or the tapas power, the power of tapasya, the power of penance of Brahmaji. Sapta Rishis came out of that. I think we have shared a chart of who came out where. So when Brahmaji, the earth was created, when there was creation happened, the universe was created, Brahmaji just appeared in front on a lotus and he did not know what was happening. He did not know the purpose of his creation. Why was he created? How is it possible? Brahmaji, the creator, is created. It is beyond that, right? Vishnuji, and we have talked about 3 Vishnus. There could be more. We talked about a Vishnu in our universe. We talked about the Vishnu in Kshir Sagar. We talked about the Vishnu in the causal ocean also. Where through every pore of his body, universes are being created. When he exhales, universes are created. When he inhales, the universes are destroyed. So we are talking about just one such universe. So Brahmaji was placed, his placement was on the lotus. He opens his eyes, all he sees is water. He does not know what to do. He sees nobody else to talk to and figure out कि अब आगे क्या करना है, मैं क्यों हूँ, मैं कौन हूँ, मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ यहाँ पे. So he goes down the stem of the lotus, finds nothing, no end. He comes up again, he does not know what to do, and he pays attention to what is happening around him. We never pay attention to what is happening around us, right? How much attention do we pay to the wind and the breeze and the flowers blooming? So all that was around him was water, sea. And the sea was lashing on the lotus saying, tap, tap. वो आवाज आती है ना when the water goes, tap, tap, tap. And through that he said, okay, so this is what I'm supposed to do. I'm supposed to do my tapasya. So he sat down and through his willpower, he did intense tapasya. And through this tapasya did he find out what was the purpose. He realized that, oh, I am the creator and I have to create. And through the power of this willpower and tapas, the Saptarishis came out. One of them was Guru Vashisht. Right? So now Guru Vashisht was sent down for the Ikshvakus. He was there from the beginning to the end. He is still there. So he was there, and he, as we have heard, he refused to go down. He says, I'm not going to Mrityulok. Why should I go? When I'm living in Brahmalok, there are 7 lokas above and 7 lokas below, right? So I'm living in Brahmalok. Why should I go to Mrityulok? And the story goes, they said, Ram aayenge. They need your guidance. They need a guru, because one generation has to be better than the other so that Ram can come. And आपको राम के पर ब्रह्म के दर्शन हो जाएंगे. तो आप चाहिए. And again, he said, no, I cannot wait for so long. So instead of Satyug, Dwapar, Treta and Kalyug, he changed the cycle of Kal. He said, okay, Satyug, Treta, Dwapar and Kalyug hoga. तो मैं जाऊंगा, so that I do not have to wait for so long. And he is said to be the guru of the entire lineage. Nobody knows how old he is. So in his ashram, who comes? Vishwarath. Now Vishwarath with his army walks into the ashram, and he knows the decorum. When you are going to the guru, when you have entered the ashram, you put down your weapons, you put down your crown, you remove your footwear. Because see, these are the basic things that were taught to a king. When in front of a sage, you leave all your egoistic things behind. So everybody did. He said, army, you stand at a distance. You're not entering the premises of the ashram. And when we entered, the aura of the ashram was so beautiful. It was just like when Buddha used to sit, the horse and the lion would drink water from the same pond. So was the environment. It was peaceful, nice, calming, and bliss. Every animal was living in harmony. Everybody was happy. The vibes were so good. He walked in, he greeted Guru Vishwamitra. Guru Vashisht greeted Vishwarath. He said, please sit down, give me an opportunity to serve you. He looked at the small little hut and a few other ones. He said, the sage will not be able to serve me and my army. There are so many of them. He said, nay, don't worry. I just wanted to meet you. I'll go. He said, no, stay. Stay for a few days indeed. Stay for a few days. Fodder, food, place to stay, clothes. How will the sage arrange? He said, don't worry about that. You come. Accept my atithya. Be my guest. Vishwarath accepted. And now sage Vashisht went back. He had a beautiful, nice, wish-fulfilling cow called Nandini, who is said to be the daughter of Kamadhenu. So she said, Nandini, so-and-so has happened. Can you please help? She said, Tathastu. And the way they were treated was beyond description. If this was a children's class, I would have taken an hour describing it. It is not. You all will get bored. So you can imagine everybody, maybe it was better than the best wedding that has happened so far, right? So everybody got what they wanted. They were treated so well. And Vishwarath started wondering, where is all this coming from? The sage has nothing. He merely has 2 dhotis, I have been noticing. But how come he is able to serve us better than I can serve my own people? Where is everything coming from? He could not help himself. He asked. And he said, oh, I have Nandini. Nandini? Oh, she's a wish-fulfilling cow. It was given to me so that she would help me with my yagna. Yagna? Yes, because I need pure samagri, right? Everything that has to go into a yagna has to be very pure. I think we have discussed this. Purity is not there anymore nowadays in anything because it has to be 100% pure. So she provides it to me so that I can do my yagna and all. So she helps me with my needs and she stays here. So she is, no. Now Vishwarath got greedy. He said, I'll give you whatever you want. Mountains of gold. I'll give you horses and cows. I'll give you everything. I'll fend for you. I'll provide you. I want Nandini. Nandini is better off with me. Now Guru Vashisht said, no, I need her for my yagna. No, he did not agree now. This is Vishwamitra, who is currently Vishwarath. He did not agree. He ordered his army to capture Nandini. Nandini was being taken by force. When she somehow managed to free herself and rushed to Guru Vashisht, they said, why aren't you helping me? Protect me. I don't want to go with him. I want to stay with you. I want to stay here. He said, what can a mere sage do? So Nandini said, okay, then give me the permission to protect myself. He says, Tathastu. And then she shouted, Hamba. And from every pore came the fiercest of warriors. And everybody in the army was destroyed. And so were Vishwarath's sons. At that moment, Vishwarath looked around the destruction, and he was beyond all that, and he thought to himself, the riches that I have, the power that I have, the strength that I have is useless in front of the strength of this yogi. क्या है मेरे पास में? हमें क्या लगता है योगियों को 9 to 7 या 12 hours का जॉब करना पड़ता है to fulfill whatever they want? It's like this they can get mountains of gold. Every yogi that you see, a true yogi that you see walking on the streets, he does not want all this. He does not care for all this. It is nothing, Maya. So he said, he is more powerful than I am. I want to become like him. And not only this, when I become like him, I'll take revenge from him. Because I'm powerless, right? In front of his yogic power. Again. So he left everything. One son was left. He gave the throne. He went and sat in tapasya. We'll fast forward it. Thousands of years of tapasya. It is said that he prayed for 6,000 years in the same body. It's a very deep moral over here because the scriptures speak this again and again. We take the wrong meaning and then we say ki nahi, we have casteism. Nahi hai. So again, he prayed thousands of years. He summoned Shivji once and Brahmaji 4 times. Now when he summoned Shivji after 1,000 years of prayers, he said, what do you want? He said, I want weapons. The strongest weapons that you can give me. Shivji said, Tathastu, le lo. Gave everything. Vishwarath, he's still Vishwarath, abhi tak Vishwamitra nahi bane. He rushed to Guru Vasishtha ashram, and Guru Vasishtha was he had his hand on his yog dand, and he was sitting in tapasya with all his followers. And when Vishwarath came in rage and anger and started shouting and firing, all his followers started running, and this disturbed the tapas of Vasishtha. He opened his eyes, and with one move of his shaft, he just engulfed all the missiles, all the weaponry that was being thrown by Vishwarath on him. And Vishwarath just stood there. Thousands of years, 1,000 years of tapasya. And Vasishtha, no, I will come back. Again Vishwarath went. Again he sat down in prayers. Okay. Again. And this journey is very beautiful because इसमें त्रिशंकु भी आएंगे इक्ष्वाकु लेन के. Now Vasishtha is the guru of all the Ikshvakus. Vishwarath is trying to fight Guru Vasishtha because he says, I want to be the most powerful. And just imagine, दुश्मन भी कैसा बनाना चाहिए? See, when you, just Ravan teaches us, Ramayana ka core lesson kya hai? If you want to hate Ram, na, because you'll be thinking 27 times 7 about him. We think about the people we hate more than the people we love. So choose wisely whom you want to hate. Randomly har kisi ko hate mat karo. Make that decision in awareness. So he was hating Guru Vasishtha, and his entire effort was to defeat Guru Vasishtha in his own way, in the way of Guru Vasishtha by his yogic powers, and he wanted to acquire yogic powers. So again he went thousands of years. This time he summoned Brahmaji. When he summoned Brahmaji, again he went. He said, okay, this time what I will do is, I will send Trishanku to heaven with his body. Trishanku is also one of the Ikshvakus, Suryavanshi, ancestors of Ramji, because Trishanku went to Guru Vasishtha, I want to go to heaven in this mortal body. Guru Vasishtha said, Sambhav nahi hai, you should not even try it, don't do it. He was a very pious man, but he had this desire. Then he went to Guru Vasishtha's sons who were doing tapas. They said, not at all possible, and because you are not following the agya of your Guru, you will become a Chandal. Khatam. He was, his beautiful form was destroyed and he became Kurup. On the way, he met Guru Vishwamitra. He said, oh, Guru Vishwarath, okay? He said, yes, I will do it. Vasishtha can't, I will do it. I'll send you to heaven with your own body. And he started the tapas, he started the yagna. None of the gods came to get the offering. See, hum yagna to kar lete hain, right? Even today we do yagnas. But do the gods actually descend to take our offering? They did not come to take Vishwarath's offering. No, we do not want to take Vishwarath's offering. The objective of his prayer is not right. But then he said, it's okay, you don't come, I will create another heaven. Or even if I don't create it, I'll send him to your heaven with my own power. He sent Trishanku up to the heaven. Indradev saw him, he said, oh my God, you cannot be here, Trishanku, and he kicked him. Now Trishanku is hanging. He is midway. He said, what do I do? Now I can't go to this heaven. Vishwarath said, it's okay. I will create my own heaven. He had that power now, by now. He created the galaxies. He started creating the planets. He created his own heaven. And at that time, Brahmaji and all the devas came and said, why are you disturbing the cycle of this universe? Don't disturb the balance of this universe. Don't do this. And some say that Trishanku got his heaven. Some say that he's hanging upside down even now. We do not know. Only Trishanku can say, and there is a river, I'm forgetting the name, I'll find out and I'll let you know, which is said that he is, he's hanging upside down, the spit is flowing, and that river is made of that. So there are pure rivers also, and there are rivers like this. So Trishanku never made it. Vishwarath again got upset, but by this time, what did he do? He had destroyed all his powers again. Right? 1,000 years of tapasya gone to waste. What will he do? Again he sat down for tap. What was his objective? To defeat Guru Vashishtha. Amazing, isn't it? Now, day by day, he is moving towards Brahmanhood. So this may I. Brahmaji said that you are a rishi now. You are not a Kshatriya anymore, you are a rishi. In this one body, you have become a rishi. He said, no, I do not want to become a rishi. Fine, he continued with his tapasya. Menaka was sent, Rambha was sent, because Rambha was converted into stone, but Menaka lured him. He forgot about his tapas, he forgot about his enemy, he forgot about his kingdom, he forgot everything, and he started living with Menaka for 10 years, and finally Menaka got guilty. She said, listen, Indradev and all the devs got worried that you'll become very powerful. Indradev really gets agitated. See, the people who are weak and vile cannot see somebody else's progress. So he said, nahi, ye mera sthan le lenge. He's becoming very strong. You lure him. So this is what I did. I am at fault. He said, no, you are not at fault. I am at fault. How could I forget my journey? There will be a lot of distractions on the way, right? But if I get lost or I get distracted, it's not the fault of the distraction, it is my fault. So he walked again. He walked up. He said, take care of our daughter who's 10 now. And he walked away, sat down in tapasya again. He became a Maharishi. He said, now you stop. Now you're not a Rishi. After that, he became a Raj Rishi. After that, he became a Maharishi. You're very powerful. He said, no, I'm not going to stop yet. I want to become a Brahma Rishi. And I want Guru Vashishtha to say that I am a Brahma Rishi. Now, Brahmaji said, ठीक है. And in the process, what he did was, he knew Harishchandra was a disciple of Guru Vashishtha. So he said, okay, let me, trouble Guru Vashishtha in another way. Just imagine, he has accumulated so much power. So he came, and Guru Harishchandra was known to give, right? So he said, okay, you put your weight, and whatever is your weight, that much gold or that much money I'll give to the people. So he's sitting. So he came in form of a bird. He sat down. He said, okay. And it is said that Raja Harishchandra could not, entire Sampati was put on the weighing scale, but this bird was still heavier. He said, now what do I do? He cut off one of his hands and put. ऐसे कहते हैं ना, this is what रघुकुल रीत सदा चली आई, प्राण जाए पर वचन ना जाए. हम लोग तो कब बोला था? बोलने से पहले सोचो, और अगर बोल दिया है तो then don't turn back. No matter what it takes. He cut his hands, he cut his other arm. He was, slowly by slowly putting down his flesh. And then suddenly, he said, okay, fine, I'll forgive you, but you have to leave everything and go. And then, the journey, it's so sad when you listen to the story. His son, he had to sell his son. He had to sell his queen. At times they had nothing to eat. So they said, okay, you become slaves. At least you'll get something to eat. He sold them. He himself was given work. Now, this is Harishchandra. He was given work in, when you burn the Chandal hote na, when they are burning this. And he said, okay, I'll do this work, no problem. And he faithfully started doing this work. It so happened that his son got bitten and died. Now, this wife did not have much. So she came there and she saw her husband by chance. He said, देखो, अपना बेटा है, इसका अंतिम संस्कार कर देते हैं. He said, no, but the deal is you have to have a white cloth and so many things. He said, this is your son. He said, yes, but I am sold. I've sold myself to him. He is my owner and I'm not allowed to do this. He did not do the antim sanskar of his own son because what was needed was not there. Because he was devoted. He said, I've sold, I've given my word. I'm not going to do anything of this sort. At this time, when he said it's okay, and they were so broken, and finally, the owner, the Chandal, came and he said, no, I release you. And this entire gruesome story was going on. Guru Vashisht could not take it anymore, He came in the form of the bird, and it is said that a battle between these two fierce birds, one is Vishwarath or Vishwamitra now almost, and one is Guru Vashisht, went on for so long till Brahmaji had to come and stop. He said, what are both of you doing? He said, how could he harm Raja Harishchandra like that? No fault of his. And again, Vishwamitra, zero. One moment of anger destroys all your tap. Be it intentional, unintentional, एक बार गुस्सा आया और everything is gone. Finished. And it happens to all of us all the time. One moment of anger. One lapse. And we start from negative. All over again. And कितनी बार विश्वामित्र ने करा वापस शुरू. हम कौन है? How many times we just let our emotions be and we shout, we yell, and then we say it's okay. No, it's not okay. Tapas zero हो गया, वापस शुरू करो. Again, he said finally he realized कि नहीं. And he went back into sadhana, and this time he went on. And when he was sitting and doing his sadhana, after so many years, something happened. A change. But there was no anger. There was no vengeance. There was no competition, nothing. There was no desire to harm. He just wanted to be. Everything vanished. And slowly and steadily, the calm that was around Guru Vashisht came around Vishwamitra. The same harmony, same love, wild animals together, kuch bhi nahi, flowers blooming, and all the gods descended. They said, we tried you, we tested you. Some tapas, some years you lost, some years we made you lose. But now you have reached. You are Brahma Rishi. You are not Raj Rishi. Raj Rishi is Raja Janak, right? He's a king, but he's a Rishi. You are not Maharishi. You are Brahma Rishi, the knower of Brahm. You are Brahm himself. He said, बहुत खुश हूँ मैं. But I don't want anything else. I just want Guru Vashisht to acknowledge it. कि हाँ तुम ब्रह्म ऋषि हो. And Guru Vashisht did not. And Arundhati Ma said, I think this is enough. Why do you despise him? He said, I don't despise him at all. I really like him so much. In spite of the fact that our sons were lost, so much was lost, I never had any hate towards him. I really, really like him. But till I is there, वो ब्रह्म ऋषि तो नहीं कहला सकता. This time Vishwamitra just could not take it. He said, ठीक है, if till you are there नहीं होगा तो खत्म करते हैं. And that time Arundhati Ma held him. He said, आप क्या कर रहे हैं? Then Guru Vashisht said, it's not till I am there. Till I is there. मैं. अभी भी तुम्हारी इच्छा है कि मैं तुम्हें बोलूं. And Guru Vishwamitra fell at the feet of Guru Vashisht. He said, आप ही मेरे गुरु हैं. Guru Vashisht picked him up and he said, आज तुम ब्रह्म ऋषि हो गए. And this is the beautiful journey. We have just touched the tip of the iceberg of Guru Vishwarath to Vishwamitra, the Mitra of the entire world. And all through this journey, what was the entire play? Were these two gurus fighting? Were these two gurus trying to prove each other? Who's superior? What was happening? I'm sorry we are overshooting, just give me 5 more minutes. The entire thing was very simple. Guru Vashisht and Guru Vishwamitra, when I see it, whatever my little intellect understands is, they were gathering the siddhis for Ram. Many a times we cannot learn everything from our own experience, right? It's very simple, right? Sometimes we learn from other people's experience. When you aspire, it is not only you, the universe conspires. उनको पता था राम आएंगे and राम को ये सब चाहिएगा. राम के पास में 6000 साल नहीं होंगे तपस्या करने के लिए, हम करेंगे. We'll be ready when Ram comes, and both the gurus, when they find the right patra, they hand over everything. They kept nothing for themselves. And we have seen Vishwamitra and Guru Vashisht do this. He said, हमने सालों साल, हजारों साल तपस करी है. राम तुम ले लो. Why did he not kill Tataka? Why did he not kill Subhahu and Marich himself? He did not want to use up his own tapas because he was saving it for Sri Ram. And this is the beauty of our journey also. If our aspirations are pure, there are many who are waiting to hand over their tapas to us. The universe is waiting, the divine is waiting, the sages are waiting. Aap chalo to sahi. That is why never ever say, I am a self-made woman or man. Nothing worth achieving in life is ever achieved alone. Knowingly, unknowingly, एक पूरा कायनात है जो हमारे पीछे चल रही है. And look at the sages, look at the gurus. Their entire effort was given away in a blink. राम ऐसे ही राम नहीं बन गए. We salute to the lineage and with salute to the gurus. May we never forget their space and place in our lives. Vande Guru Parampara. Jai Shri Ram, Jai Shri Krishna, Jai Hanuman.